just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay, another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Kamille Smith. Welcome, welcome, folks. It is week 3 of 2024, and a lot has happened since then. Uh, Actually, yeah, a lot has happened since then. Wow, I just got a recap in the back of my head. But the great thing about that was I was able to do 2 webinars so far. So I did one for ACBN for the pre symposium event, and I just did another webinar last night with Ontario Delta, talking about thinking smart with money. And I was like, all right, the year's going well, talking about things that I'm interested in. And just when I thought it was gonna be, a slow pace next week, no, no, no. I got another one coming up. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Christopher Lawrence, aka Frequency Promotion. Sorry, Frequency Event Promotions. We are actually doing something next week, and I wanted to show y'all before I even begin. I learned some new things. Oh. So next week, Wednesday, or I guess this week, Wednesday, coming up, January 24th. I have 2 tickets, actually. I have 2 free tickets for anyone that wants to attend. So yeah, get a special deal. So whoever sees this today, because obviously it's a premiere, um, if you message me before Sunday, I want to say noon, you'll be able to attend this event with me. It's in person, so you'll be able to network and other things. And just to show you that I am part of it, you see me there? See me there? So it's gonna be an amazing event. There's going to be other individuals you've seen. Cheryl, I hope I said the name right. Forgive me if I didn't. You see Christopher there. You see Neil. You see Caroline. You see Mark. You see Joseph. You see them all. Come true. Obviously, this is for folks that are able to attend on time. This is not Caribbean time, so if you can't make it, don't come to me. Say, oh, Camille, send me a ticket. No, no. I have 2 tickets. And if you can't make it, it's okay. It's a-okay. And big up the sponsors as well. ACBN's there again, the O spot. I see Rum Punch. So it's going to be a great evening. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. And for anyone that wants to attend, and I already know people are going to be like, oh, do I get permission to see? Of course you get permission to go. As long as you, um, one, email me or click on that Eventbrite link. I will do my best. I obviously I'm going to be in the chat today to give it. So I'm doing it now so I can remember, so I know to be there at the time, right? But yeah, I wanted to actually talk about the webinar that I did with ACBN because I thought it was very important, especially when it comes to talking about cash flow. And I wanted to have a cool title. I feel like I haven't had a cool title in a minute. So if anyone knows how that song is being, or how the title is being sung, then you'll get a little shout out next time, right? But with cash flow, and with the discussion I had with ACBN's group, it was more towards businesses. Sorry, it was more towards businesses, and I think it's very important for businesses to realize that cash flow is very important, because even when it comes to a startup or established business, you got to make sure that, having that revenue is amazing, and cutting costs with expenses is amazing too, but making sure that you guarantee money to come in is very crucial. So I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of having cash flow, or like the opportunities and obstacles when it comes to um, cash flow. So, or bear with me, because I always love to give y'all these lovely banners and all that. Uh that okay. So I want to start off with the positive, because I want people to think that, okay, there's some good reasons why you would want to have a business, and the cash flow, or managing the cash flow. Right? So with the cash flow, so there are a couple ones where the cash flow is going to help you ideally, and that is government support programs. I've been here. I've been getting messages. I've been seeing it on Instagram or other social medias, that people are receiving their raise, um, funding. I want to say funding, because a lot of people, like with businesses, they either, with governments, they're either getting grants or financing, and those are amazing, or even tax incentives, right? So getting a government support, or in being in a government support program, is actually essential for your business, because being in one of those, you're able to explore the different grants that they have, be able to get low rates with financing, and also tax incentives. So that is some reason why a positive opportunity with cash flow is having that wiggle room. So if, let's say that you're having trouble with getting cash flow from your clients, you at least have that little wiggle room with the opportunities from the government to get that. However, it does take a lot of time and effort to get into these government support programs. Like, you have to show them your business plan. You have to um, tell them like a page or two on why they should agree to have you, and all that great stuff. So that is something you want to think about when you're thinking about getting grants. Even though I've talked about it with Ryan, if you actually, a year ago to this day, Ryan was on talking about getting access to grants and financing. And I guess the best thing to do is have a grant writer to help you form your proposal, so you're able to get the grants. Or do it your damn self. I know people that did it yourself too. So it depends. And you know what? The next time I hear about one, because Ryan always talks about it, if you follow ACBN, you'll actually be able to get help with grants. So I'm gonna start attending them more often. Ryan always says, like, there's people that don't even look at his emails. I do look at the emails, so I'm definitely going to be checking out some of the grants, right? The next one that you want to take in consideration is trade agreements, right? These have to do with international trades. So if you agree, so you're able to expand your business to not only Canada, but if you're able to expand it to the States, the Caribbean, UK, Africa, wherever, you're obviously going to be able to receive more revenue. So this is something that people want to think about. I actually, in the webinar, someone was coming from Nigeria, then moved to Canada, and they're like, "How would I be able to make it work?" I'm like, "Ooh, so you have a great market. Like you're able to reach out to more people in your business. So that's a great opportunity as well. So you really want to be mindful about that. Oh, and this one is the one that I love the most, because if anyone thinks about back in the day, like in the 80s, 90s, so my parents had a business, right? And usually when it came to them, not all the time, but like they would have to, go into the bank, cash that check in. You would have customers that give you post dated checks. You're like, hey, don't put that, like, don't put the check in too early because that money's not gonna come true and stuff, right? But when it comes to a technology now, you have people like, let's say you in Canada we have e-transfer, right? In the States they have Cash App, Zeely, in other different places in the world there's PayPal. So technology is really developing, so you're able to get your money back quicker, and you're able to provide invoices, whether it's the payment processing, whether it's invoices like QuickBooks, Waves, whichever accounting software that you use, you're able to receive your money quicker than normal. So this is very essential because you're more efficient with your business, and you're like, all right, um my business is more fluent and I'll be able to get my money faster, ideally. Right? So that's one thing you want to think about, is really having the technology that's able to make your life easier in your business. So that's a key point that you'd want to factor in. The other one is, and if you remember, when Tim Frey came, he talked about this. It was strategic partnerships. So without actually collaborating with other businesses, you're able to create more opportunities for yourself, and you reduce cost, right? Because you're sharing the cost within another company, but you're actually sharing more revenue. So I would say, if you are going to collaborate with another business, make sure it aligns with your purposes as well, and be able to, it's not just take, but it's a give and take scenario. So you're going to be able to cut costs, and you're going to be able to expand your market as well, and be able to gain more revenue with the agreements that you have. And make sure you have a contract, all right? Because you don't want anyone to get screwed over or anything, because that's not fair. And then, so collaborating is a key, or just building a team in a sense, because building the team will cost more, yes, but you're um, putting other hats. So like you see you have marketing, sales, um, I want to say, what's the word I want to say? Collecting money, I don't know, accounts payable, accounts receivable, that you have different people doing different tasks for you. So you'll be able to focus on one certain thing and make it grow better. So that's one thing that you'd want to take in consideration. And another one is alternative financing. And this is when you think of different opportunities, and I've seen this personally, where it's peer-to-peer lending, crowdfunding, even trading. In a sense, you will be able to build more cash flow into your business. I've personally been involved with that, and it works. It works. Or even like angel investors, like I, you know what? I'll talk about it after, actually. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll talk about it after. Because one of the things that I talked about in the webinar was the types of ways to access money. And it was very interesting, right? So, but I'll talk about that after. So these are the opportunities. These are the opportunities that can affect your cash flow. So when I say opportunity, is a positive way of receiving cash flow. So you really want to see how you can get those government support programs, but you probably have to do like an 8 week thing with them as well. The trade agreements, international, think internationally. Think of how you can make your business more efficient. Think about which team players or partners can be in you can align with your business, and also getting funding from other places. That one's crucial, right? But even though there are positive things about cash flow, there's also the obstacles of cash flow too. And that, I think, a lot of folks will, or let's say challenges, obstacles, I'll say obstacles. These are the things that you'll definitely be experiencing when you have a business. And it's just because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I don't think there's anyone that I've done bookkeeping for that hasn't experienced one of these things. So it actually happens, right? So, obstacles that affect cash flow. First things first is, depending on which business you're in or industry you're in, you're going to experience this. And that is seasonal variations. Boom, bam, bam. There's gonna be times when there's gonna be a high peak season and there's gonna be a low peak season. Um, for me personally, I know when my high peak season is, and I also I know say when my low peak season is, right? So then that so the way to manage that way is you have to be able to, and I talked about this yesterday too, um, be able to balance out what you receive in those high peaks and learn how to stretch it out for those times when it's low peak. So like, example, and I can only speak for myself. During the tax season is where it's very high peak, and then low peak, which I just realized. Well, not just realized, but it dawned to me that it would be the low peak was the last quarter of the year. So then now I have to strategize even this year to be able to manage the high peak season and then be able to stretch it out. And it's gonna happen for everyone. I've seen it in real estate where people are like, "Yo, Cam, yo, I sold these many houses," and then there's times when they're like, "I didn't sell that much." Or even folks that are in film, even those times, there's gonna be high peaks, but then there's like consistency. You have to find a way to be consistent with clients and give them a package of like, "Ooh, I know you want to have like this project done in midsummer, but how about doing like small projects throughout the year?" And that's how you'll be able to manage those those seasonal variations, because you want to make sure that you just don't have high. You want to make sure you have high and not low, right? So that's one thing that you want to take in consideration for the folks that depending on your industry. And the same thing goes with like restaurants. There's going to be a time when the restaurants are what Winterlicious is happening soon, I think, just now. Winterlicious is a way to boost the restaurants. So you're gonna see that high peak, and Summerlicious. So you're gonna see more clients and things. So you really want to be mindful about that. But also, that's a strategic way to have folks remember about your place when it's low peak time, and it's probably winter. It's cold. Nobody wants to go outside, and also everyone's still recovering from Christmas. Having Winterlicious makes sense because they want more people to come into the facility, right? The next one is currency fluctuations. Whew! So anyone that okay, so this is for the folks not that don't um have clients in different areas, but they purchase software from different parts of the world. So imagine this. Um, most of us would have software from the States, right? But let's see what the exchange rate is right now, because everyone knows that the exchange rate when it comes to Canada and the US, it said rupees by accident. Oopsie. So every oh, I had to switch it. So every Canadian dollar is 74 cents American. So whenever my American friends come true, you know you guys are nice here. But sorry, let me switch it. So right now, every every dollar, American dollar, is $1.35 in Canada, right? But if I was looking at it in December 26th, it was 132. And then the highest was no, it's like that right now. However, think about it. If you are buying things for your business, the money is going to fluctuate, right? So it's not going to be the same price as always. So you always have to take in consideration how this is going to affect your cash flow at the end of the day. So like I and remember I do bookkeeping, so I see when the prices fluctuate. So like let's say in January last year it cost $67 for someone's Google or whatnot. This year, like now, it's gonna cost a little bit more because the exchange rate fluctuates, and that and I'm not even gonna talk about the people that order things from the UK with the euro. That's even more crazy. So you really want to be mindful of the currency, the foreign exchange currencies that you use to operate your business because it will fluctuate. So I would also say figure out what the average is and have money in your account to manage that average. And sometimes it will go a little bit up, sometimes it'll be a little bit lower, but you'll be able to balance it out overall, right? And then another one is and I know this one the business folks are gonna hate. So regulatorily compliance. So this I know when you see things in the states, you're gonna be like, "Oh, the states they're able to do this, that, that." We are not the states. In Canada, in Canada, we're very complex when it comes to like tax obligations and compliances. So you really want to be mindful about that. There are some folks that are not mindful about the HST and GST, payroll taxes, and corporate taxes, right? Actually, I'm gonna write that one. For the individuals, so for the self-employed and business folks, I really want you to be mindful of HST and GST, payroll taxes, and corporate taxes. If you don't pay attention to that, you will get a pretty penny will be charged. So you'll pay interest on not paying it in time. So you really want to be mindful of avoiding those penalties. That's the one way that is a challenge with people's businesses. They forget about these important things. Whether the HST you do it monthly, quarterly, or yearly, payroll the same thing. Whether you get paid or you pay out to your employees monthly, biweekly, semi-monthly, these things matter because you gotta pay those. And the corporate tax, you gotta pay. You must pay it. All right. So just be mindful about that, and making sure it's not late. Because if it's late, then you're taking more money out of your business, right? Like you want to keep your money. And this one is when Dr. Vibe sees this, he's gonna laugh because I always say I want the mafia. Delayed payments. Nothing's more annoying than delayed payments. And I'm not shooting anything. I'm not shooting at anyone right now. But delayed payments will affect your business 10 times than anything else. So to avoid late payments is, well, there's no real way. There are real ways to deal with late payments, but you also want to make sure that you minimize the late payments when it comes to clients and customers because it disrupts your cash flow. Whether that means you'd have to like set them a reminder or get a deposit before, well, but you're never gonna know if someone's gonna be late until it happens, right? So try to minimize this as much as possible, and even having a contract, like if you're 15 days late or 30 days late, you are going to be charged a fee. And just like before, I just said the compliance, you want to avoid the penalties, right? um Avoid late payments. That's all I can think of. Avoid late payments, or like I said, with the seasonal variation, as before, there's gonna be times when it's low, so you have to have enough cash, like with during the high peak, be able to avoid scenarios like this, because when you have low peak and delayed payments, my gosh. So access to financing. So sometimes it's difficult for individuals to get this, like credit card, like business credit cards and business line of credit. But because it has to go based on how long you've been in the business. So really be mindful about this and try to find ways to, if you can, if you're able to get access to line of credits or credit cards, do it, but be mindful and be cautious of how you use it, right? Um, that's the obstacles of cash flow, right? There's the seasonal variations, so there's high peaks, low peaks. You want to be in the mid, right? At least, or mostly high peaks, of course. The foreign exchange is going to kick your ass sometimes. You really want to be mindful about the compliances when it comes, especially in Canada, because you don't want to be charged these fees because you're late. You want to avoid these people as much as possible. And then you want to access to financing. Sometimes it took me 5 years to get a business credit card and line of credit, and it wasn't like I was searching for it. It was just dropped into me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll use it. And it actually helps with like the operating costs. And when the best time to use it is um when your day-to-day expenses are a little bit short, so you want to use those to get that opportunity, to still pay your fees to run your business, right? Actually, I wanted to make this episode really short because I know I have to be mindful. Like a lot of people are like, yo, Cam, hour, it's so, I just want it short and sweet. But I will talk about, actually, in another episode, I will talk about accessing funding, and I found some cool discoveries on that. So make sure you subscribe, share, comment, and everything, and tell me which ones actually affects your cash flow. Because that's and if there are any things that are affecting your cash flow, set up an appointment with me and let's try to figure out how to make your business more positive cash flowing than negative cash flowing, because maybe there's something that's happening that you're unaware about, or maybe you just didn't know about these obstacles or these challenges that happen with cash flow. And I'll be able to sit down with you and we'll be able to figure it out. All right. But until next time, folks, make sure you have a lovely weekend. Make sure you check out Come True. Gosh darn it. Remember to, if you want a free ticket, I have 2 free tickets. It's in person. Come through. It's gonna be a great experience. It's gonna be a lovely evening. I think let me look at it again. It's 6:30 sharp. You have to be there because it's gonna be recorded. So you know me. I usually am a person that is late, but I always show up no matter what. And that's what others should do as well. Show up no matter what. But this one I'm gonna be on time. It's at Bayview and Shepherd, so I'm gonna be there on time. Shoot. But on that note, folks, peace and love, and just see you guys on Wednesday. Okay? Make sure. Oh.
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free.